Good morning, everyone. My name is Kara Highfield, and I'm with the Illinois Restaurant Association. I'd like to thank you for joining today's webinar titled Applying for the GROW Grant and What Restaurants Need to Know. The webinar is being presented by us at the Illinois Restaurant Association in conjunction with Cook County Small Business Source. During today's webinar, we'll hear from an expert at our Cook County Small Business Source partner organization, the Women's Business Development Center. Today's webinar is being broadcast in English, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese. To listen to in Spanish or Chinese, please use the interpretation button in your toolbar. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone attending that the Illinois Restaurant Association remains a resource for you and all operators in the hospitality industry as we all continue to recover from the past few years. Our staff, myself included, is focused on providing guidance, assistance, and relief to restaurants, bars, caterers, event venues, and all hospitality businesses in Illinois, as we all work together to emerge fully from the pandemic. We send regular updates via e-blast and on social media, so please be sure to sign up for those e-blasts and also check our website, illinoisrestaurants.org. We have a host of different resources and vendors that can assist you. We provide information on current mandates. We have a pro bono legal network and much more. So for today's webinar, you can use the Q&A button in the toolbar at the bottom, and you can type your questions and we'll get to them at the end after our presentation. And you can also put a thumbs up if you like a question that's already been typed in, so then we can prioritize them and we'll do our best to get to all of them. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to our panelist with us today, Lodika Pai. Thank you for being here, Lodika. She is the Chief Financial Officer at the Women's Business Development Center. Lodika, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Kara, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Source Grow webinar on the GROW grants that Cook County is making available for all businesses in suburban Cook and the city of Chicago. Next slide, please, Teresa. Thank you. So the focus of today's webinar is to introduce the Source Grow grant to everyone on the call and also highlight what you can do to prepare to apply and what are the things that you as the applicant need to know as you're applying for the grant, like what determines eligibility, what determines priority, and we'll go through all of that. So a quick overview, the goal of the Small Business Source is really to provide direct financial and technical assistance to small businesses across Cook County. The program has multiple components. We have a network of over 41 business service organizations that deliver these services to small businesses in Cook County. And we do it in multiple ways. You know, we have business advising services, one-on-one technical assistance, organizations host webinars, and provide small business resources to all entrepreneurs who want to learn more. And, you know, what we're going to focus on today is direct grants and grant application support that is provided by the county for small businesses in suburban Cook and the city of Chicago. So till now, this program has provided grant funding of about $17 million since COVID started, and the number of businesses that the program has supported, and that has included help with PPP, direct technical assistance, getting other grants, accessibility to other grant programs, the EIDL loans. It's been over 10,000 businesses that this program has supported. And the number of businesses that have received direct assistance has been almost 5,000. And the percentage of grant and advising recipients who've been, people of color have been a little over 68% and women over 57%. So it's been a really inclusive and very successful program, which has been put together and coordinated by Cook County under the Small Business Source umbrella. Next slide. So the GROW grant, which is what we're going to focus on today, this is a fairly large initiative by Cook County to provide $10,000 grants to about 2,550 small businesses. So the total money that has been allocated for this program is $25.5 million. And this grant program is primarily focused on what the SBA definition of small businesses, which is businesses that are less than 20 employees, so 19 and below. So that is one of the primary eligibility criteria for businesses looking to apply for this grant. And that does not include contractors or 1099 workers. We are talking about employees on your payroll that receive W-2s from the business. So that has to be less than 20. In addition to the grant, business advising services are also provided via all business support organizations that are part of Cook County Small Business SOS. This is no cost guidance and coaching provided to small businesses. And in terms of key dates, the application window opened on Monday, October 3rd, and it shall remain open through October 31st, so end of this month. So the grant window, application window, is going to be open for the entirety of October, and the application window closes at 5 p.m. Central on October 31st. And applicants will be notified of their status in early 2023. And our hope is that in early 2023 is when the payments will get dispersed as well. So the entire $25.5 million will get dispersed to small businesses who are, who are notified that they have received a grant by hopefully maybe end of February or early March of next year. So, I really want to focus here and spend a little bit time on who is eligible for this grant and who is a priority for this grant. So only for-profit businesses that started prior to 2020 and are located in Cook County are actually eligible for this grant. Nonprofits are not eligible. And the reason we have Cook County has kind of made this determination of having started prior to 2020 because your 2019 federal tax return is a mandatory document that needs to be submitted as part of this grant application. And obviously, the zip code of your business will be checked to make sure that it is located in Cook County. We've already discussed the business size as being the primary eligibility criteria. So a business has to have less than 20 full-time employees on their payroll. And you can be a sole proprietor where you are the only employee, and that is eligible as well. But in terms of the number of employees you have on your payroll, that has to be less than 20. And there's a self-attestation piece to this grant where the business attests that they've had negative impact due to COVID, whether it's due, because of decreased revenue or increased costs. And then use of funds, obviously, like any other federally funded program, the funds that are provided as part of this grant are only to be used for business-related expenses. So that's eligibility. Then who is a priority is also important because as you are filling out this application, please make sure that you spend the time to answer these questions correctly and accurately. So business owner demographics, the priority categories are people of color, women, veterans, LGBTQ+, and persons with a disability. In terms of geography, businesses that are located in suburban Cook County are prioritized. And then, obviously we have industries that are hard hit by COVID that are prioritized, and hospitality, food service, and accommodations have priority. Childcare, arts and entertainment, retail, and transport and warehousing are kind of designated as priority industries. And if you are a micro business, so businesses with fewer than 10 employees, so 9 and below, those businesses will also be prioritized in terms of priority categories for this grant. Next slide. So in terms of what is important for this grant as you are applying, we've received quite a few applications just in the past 2 weeks. And I want to really reiterate here that the 3 documents, this grant only asks the business owners to upload 3 documents when they're submitting their grant applications. But all 3 documents will be verified by the grant administrator. They will be checked. So I kind of really wanted to tell you why this is required and what is the validation process. So the first is you have to submit a valid photo identification card. And it could be your driver's license, real ID, state ID, City of Chicago, passport, permanent resident card, your military ID, green card. There's a lot that you can actually submit here. And there's a list that is provided even on the application. The purpose of asking for this document is it has to be the business owner's photo identification card. So we've had a few applications where an accountant has applied and the accountant has submitted their photo identification card, and that is not valid. We need this to be the business owner's ID card. The reviewers will actually verify business owner information on the submitted application against the submitted photo ID. And that is a very important compliance check that needs to be done for federal grant programs. Then the second document that is requested for and is mandatory is your 2019 federal tax returns. We need to confirm that the business was started prior to 2020 and to verify your legal entity status, because not-for-profits are not eligible for this grants. And also, reviewers will verify the revenue on 2019 tax return matches whatever you disclose as the gross revenue number on the grant application. And that is important because this is a $10,000 grant to each business, and we need to verify that the business made at least $10,000 prior to COVID in gross revenue. So that will be checked against the 2019 federal tax returns. And another note to make here on this mandatory document is please submit all pages of your federal tax return, not just the summary sheet, not just where the business revenue is highlighted. Every single page has to be submitted because that is required for compliance. Because this is, at the end of the day, this is ARPA money, which is provided by the Treasury to Cook County. And to meet certain federal guidelines, we need to be compliant when grant money is provided to small business owners. So this will be checked. And then the final document that is required, and I'm sure many of you have applied for grants before, it is a signed W-9 form. Grants are taxable, so the administrators have to report the grant award to the IRS. And the W-9 needs to be signed by the business owner with a current 2022 date. We have provided on the application form a link to DocuSign so that you can fill it out electronically, sign it, date it, save it, download it, and just upload that document along with the application. Or if you have a paper document and this is something that you're very familiar with, please go ahead and scan it and upload that as well. As long as it's filled out correctly, it is acceptable. So in terms of what else is required that is important for the application, obviously, the business address is really important because this is for businesses just in Cook County. Now, the business owner can live in Florida. It doesn't matter. As long as the business resides in Cook County, it is eligible for the grant. So the business address will get validated automatically and manually. And then the employer identification number. So this is your tax ID on your tax return. This is really important as well because the tax ID, you will disclose it while submitting the grant application. It will be checked against your tax return, and it'll also be checked on your W-9 form to make sure it all matches. Because again, that's how the government recognizes the business, is through your tax identification number. The gross revenue number that is reported on your 2019 federal tax returns is a really important eligibility check. So please make sure you enter that carefully and correctly on the grant application. The number of permanent full-time employees, that is your W-2 employees on your payroll, that is a self-attestation. There is no documentation that is being required to prove that, but then at the end, you are signing a legal self-attestation saying that everything that you have disclosed on this application is true. And then number 5, in terms of additional information for the application, is your industry NICS code. This is a 6-digit code on your tax return. And if you don't know where to find it, please reach out to the Illinois Restaurant Association's wonderful team, and they can help you identify exactly where on your tax return that number is coded. This is important because this will help the administrators kind of pool people into businesses into priority groups based on their industry classification. And then the business account, bank account information is really important because the administrators would like to do direct deposits into your business bank account. This is a request for your business bank account information. If you don't provide it and it's not accurate, a check will be sent to your business address, and that just takes time. So we're just requesting that this be provided accurately on the grant application. Next slide. So really quickly, I'm going to go through these 4 steps on the grant applicant roadmap. Step 1, really just pull your submission documents together. That's it, 3 documents. It's really easy. This is something everyone should have: a valid photo identification card for the business owner, your complete 2019 federal tax returns for your business, and a correctly completed W-9 signed and dated in 2022. That's it. These are the only 3 documents that are required for this grant application. So it's a really easy grant application to fill out. And if you need additional help, if you have very specific questions and that you need addressed and you need filtered up to the county for answers, please work with a small business source advisor, because incorrect and incomplete applications will delay reviews. So it's really important that you submit a complete application. And also, step 3 is just a reminder that this is not a first come, first serve grants. The reviews will only start after the application window has closed on October 31st at 5 p.m. Central Time. So this 4-week window is what is being provided by Cook County to all grant applicants to take your time, submit a complete grant application, because the reviews will only start on November 1st onwards. So there's no rush to apply. You have plenty of time. Just make sure that you fill it out accurately, because only complete applications will be considered for this grant. And then the 4th step is really check your email frequently. And if you can, please add Cook County and WBDC to your email safe list, because you might be receiving notifications regarding requests for additional information or clarification by the reviewers. There may be updates on timeline that is being sent. If you do receive a grant, you'll receive a notification from Cook County. You don't want to miss that. So please add these 2 emails to your email safe list: cookcountysmallbiz.org and wbdc.org. So just 4 steps. It's a really simple application. It has 9 distinct sections: business information questions. This is the legal name of your business. Are you the business owner? What is your first name, last name, email address, your primary telephone number? Please make sure you fill that out correctly, because that's the only way that the reviewers or county can reach back out to you. And then also it's just asking for your business address. Please make sure you enter your business zip code correctly, because that will determine priority in terms of whether it's in suburban Cook County or the city of Chicago. And that's it. Simple questions on the business information section. Teresa, if you want to go back to the previous slide, there is the industry type questions is where the NICS code for your business is requested. The business owner demographic questions are around priority categories, which it's asking for who owns 51% or more of your business. Please self-identify the demographics. Against that's priority categorization. Use of funds is information only. It has no impact on the review process. Document uploads do have impact on the review process because it is mandatory information that is required by the federal government. Bank information is mandatory. Please be careful when you enter it, because this is, if you do receive a grant, that will allow the administrators to direct deposit into your business bank account. The agreements are self-attestations that business owners will sign, saying that all the information that they have provided is truthful and they're acknowledging to certain county requirements. And then sections 8 and 9 are just permissions for outreach from the small business source. And if you need additional advising help, you can have business service organizations reach back out to you. And then the thank you piece is just a submit button with a little checkbox next to it, which asks you, do you want a copy of your applications? I highly recommend you check it so that you receive a copy of your application, so that you just have it in case you have any questions, you can reference back to what you had submitted. And if there are any changes or anything, it's easier for us if you know what you have submitted rather than, not know. Next slide. So the county has put together a really, really comprehensive assistance package. So what they are trying to do is, if you need any help at all, whether it's in person to help you scan your documents in, or you need just virtual support, there are help desk sessions being held virtually every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. 10 a.m. to 11 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And this is provided through the B+ business service organizations. This is Q&A, breakout rooms, anything that you need that you can ask a business, the grant application. And then the internet application in-person sessions where it's being provided on Wednesdays between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Cook County Building at 69 West Washington Street on the 29th floor. So there's a lot of help available. So if you need it, please do not hesitate to tap into all these resources being made available to you. And then, the next slide just shows you all the organizations that are involved in this small business advising, outreach, and grant application support on behalf of Cook County Small Business Source Program. And as you can see, this is a really robust network of 41 plus community partners that are involved in it. So again, there's a lot of help available. Please do not hesitate to tap into these resources as you're applying for this grant, because again, going back to what I said before, only complete applications will be considered for the grant. Next slide. This is the timeline. The program launched, the announcement was made on September 29th. The application window opened on the 3rd of October, and it will close on 10/31. And the reviews and selection process will start in November, and it will go on through, I would say, end of January, early February. And your decision notification and grant distribution will hopefully, depending on how the review process works, how much follow-up is required in case of incomplete applications. We are hoping that the program wraps up end of February, early March, with all the grant disbursements happening during that time frame. And the final section of this is just, we've just done some random checks of what applications have been submitted to date. And these are some of the common mistakes that we have found. People haven't submitted all 3 documents, so please make sure you do. Verify the business name that you have entered on the application matches what is reflected on your taxes. Make sure that your contact information is current and it is something that you check frequently. Is your phone number the right number to reach you at? Is the email address provided primary for the main contact person for this grant application? Make sure you verify and enter your tax ID number correctly and that it matches your tax return and also what is reflected on your W-9. Stay organized, make sure you save all the documents that you're submitting. And again, I'm going to reiterate this one more time. Please submit all pages of your 2019 federal tax returns. Otherwise, the follow-ups will delay the review process. And then finally, we do understand that people take pictures using their phone. If you're doing that, make sure that you upload the clearest image of your document so that the reviewers can actually check it. And finally, this is a grant that is for business purposes. So please make sure that you provide your business bank account information in the section that it's requested for and that it's correct, because that really helps with the grant disbursement process. The more accurate and complete the application is, the faster your grant will be reviewed and approved. So that's it. This is the Source Grow grant. Kara, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention. Just going to hand it over to you for any questions that we might have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Latika. That was extremely informative. And there are a bunch of questions that we'll get to in a moment. As far as grants go, this seems relatively easy. And we just want to make sure everyone's successful if they're eligible. So next, we're going to get to some questions here. We have one that says, what if I have over 20 W-2s, but because we have seasonal part-time employees, our normal full-time staff is under 20? So how do you categorize that? Do part-time seasonal employees count?
Technically, yes, in a year. But if you want us, I'm happy to get that clarification for you from Cook County. There is a place, I believe it's question number 34. If you have anything that you would like to have the county consider as an exception to your submission, it's a free format text entry on the application. Please make sure you type it in. I would, my initial reaction is, if you do have 20 20 plus W-2s that you're preparing in any given calendar year for your business, for employees, irrespective of seasonality, that it would not be eligible. But again, that is my first response, but we can definitely go back and check with them, because seasonality is something to be taken into consideration for restaurants. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. That was a great question. So another question we have is, you mentioned that they have to show the money earned in 2019. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Yes, absolutely. So there is a question on the application where it asks you, I believe it's question number 22, which is, how much gross revenue did your business generate in 2019? And the reason that question is being asked is, these are $10,000 grants, and the government just wants to make sure that you made more than $10,000 in 2019 to be able to qualify for this grant in gross revenue. No one's asking for the net. It's your top line gross revenue sales number that is being requested for in this question. And your response will be checked against your submitted tax return.
Great, thank you. And our next question we have is, if the businesses in the city of Chicago, are they less prioritized than Suburban Cook?
Uh, so the Suburban Cook businesses will get reviewed first. So I would say that the county has certain allocations for Suburban Cook and the city of Chicago, but you could qualify under multiple categories, right? So the industry is you know prioritized as well. So if you're a restaurant in the city of Chicago, you will potentially have a higher priority than, say, uh, uh, like a salon in Suburban Cook, right? So you just have to kind of make sure that you understand that the way priorities work is, yes, Suburban Cook is prioritized, so we will go through the Suburban Cook review list first, but the city of Chicago also has prioritization for restaurants within the city. So please apply, because 25.5 million for 2,550 small businesses, it's a lot of money. And I would love for more businesses to apply so that the pool is big enough and we do meet all the priority categorizations that Cook County has laid out.
Absolutely. And it never hurts to apply. This is relatively easy to do. I agree. So thank you. Next question is, what is the measure of full-time versus part-time employees?
So I think the question really is, if the person is a W-2 employee, that at the end of the year, you are, they're on your payroll, you're giving them W-2s at the end of the year, that qualifies as an FTE. And however, if you have gig workers or contractors or 1099 staff, that work on the business, that's irrelevant. You could have 100 1099 workers working with you. So these are just contractors, people who come in, work for a month and leave, and they're not necessarily on their payroll and on your payroll. That's not what Cook County is asking you. They're just asking what is the small business definition of a small, SBA's definition of a small business is less than 20 full-time employees on payroll.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Another question we have related, and we have a few on these, is the North American Industry Classification, or NAIC. Where do people find that?
So the easiest way, so there is on the application itself, we have provided a link where you can find your NAICS code. So it's on the United States Census Bureau's website, there is North American Industry Classification System link that is provided on the application for you to click on and go. The easiest way, however, to get your NAICS classification is go to your tax return. And if you are a corporation, for instance, if you are a C Corp, on your form 1120, on your page 4 Schedule K, it's line 2A. It's your business activity code number. So it should be on your tax return. For partnerships, if you're a multi-member LLC and you're filing a 1065, on the top of page 1 under section C, it's business code number. So it's easy. And same thing, sole proprietors on your Schedule C, where you file your business income, it's under section B, where you enter, your NAICS code number. So it should be on your tax return. But if it isn't, please go to the United States Census Bureau's website. The NAICS, the North American Industry Classification System link is provided there. And you can also access it directly through the grant application.
Great. Wow. That's super informative. I'm impressed that you know exactly which line for different tax forms those are on. Might call you when I have to file my own taxes. So in the next question we have is, does the business have to make a certain amount of money to apply? I think we kind of covered this, but if you want to clarify a little more.
Yes, so the business needs to have made more than $10,000 in gross revenue or sales in 2019 to qualify for this grant.
That makes sense. If you're getting a $10,000 grant, you have to make at least that much. All right, thank you. Next question is, does a person qualify for the grants if they're a food truck?
Yes, absolutely. Please apply. Yes.
Great, that's a good question because I didn't know the answer to that one either, and we have lost a lot of food trucks as well.
Yes.
And then we have a few questions related to when the business started and when they opened. Did they have to have opened in 2019? What if they opened in 2020 or 2021 or 2022?
So that's a great question. And thank you for asking that, because this particular grant program is for businesses that were in existence and were making money prior to COVID pandemic hitting. Just be aware that there is potentially a different grant program that will address what we would call businesses that started during COVID that will potentially be, you know, coming down the pike later. I don't know what the timeline for that is, but this program is not for businesses that started during the pandemic or post 2020. You should have been in business before COVID hit and have experienced economic injury due to COVID for this grant to apply to you.
Right. Before we get to our next questions, I just want to remind everyone that we will be sending out this presentation so you can watch it, you can review it, and you'll get all this information from us, from the small business source, and from WBDC. So any specific questions, also, I want to remind everyone that you'll get an email that says where you can call Cook County when you're applying. And there's live help, you can go in person, you can call in on the phone. I just want to remind everybody specific questions about that. If we don't get to all of them today, that we will make sure you get all the information. And next question, does a home-based bakery, are they eligible for it? They're under a cottage food license.
Yes, if you're operating that business as a sole proprietor, you are absolutely eligible. As long as you're filing your taxes, because that is a federal government requirement. This is federal money. You are eligible. Please apply.
Great. And if someone receives this grant, do we pay tax on it in the next year as income? It's a good question.
Yes, that's a really good question. Any federal money that is provided as a grant to a small business has to be reported as income by the business on your on your tax returns. So yes, you would have to pay taxes on it, but it'll hopefully help your business significantly, the grant money that you receive. And that's why we ask businesses to fill out their W-9 forms, because what that allows the grant administrators to do is to create 1099 forms, which we then report to the IRS that XYZ businesses, this is their tax identification number, this is their business name, and they have received $10,000 from Cook County. That will be an automated reporting that will be done by the administrators end of 2023. So if the grants get dispersed, early 2023, you will have to report that on your 2023 tax returns, because we would have already notified IRS that you have received the grant.
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you. All right, next question. There's someone that had a business since 2018 that was open, and then it transferred into a different name in about 2020. How should they go about applying for this? Because they'd still be eligible, right?
Yes. Oh, that is such a great question. Thank you for asking that, because we've had that question posed to us a few times now for different industries, and you are absolutely eligible. What you would have to do is question 34 on the grant application is a free format entry where you can tell us if there's anything different about your application or something that is very specific to your application. So you would tell us in that free format text entry that your business has been in operation since 2018, but now operates under a different name. And this is the proof that you are providing to the reviewers. It could be a business license with your new name. It could be, whether you're providing like an affidavit that shows us your change of name. anything that you can provide that will validate the name change, that is sufficient. So please don't hesitate to apply. If it's a name change, just prove to the reviewer that that is indeed the case, and the file will get reviewed. And if I may add one more, a follow-up question to that, this is something that we have been asked previously. What happens if you acquired a business or bought into a business and the business owner has changed pre-COVID to post-COVID? Same response. Please explain that in response to question number 34, which is, please let us know if there's anything specific about your application that the reviewer needs to be aware of, and upload documentation on change of ownership, and it's valid.
Great. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of good questions here. Thank you so much. And once you apply, will you get a confirmation email?
Yes. So, the confirmation email is an opt-in. So when you look at the grant application at the very end, like scroll before filling it out, you scroll to the very end, there's a little checkbox that says, please send me a copy of my application. And it asks you to plug in your email address, so that that's the email that the confirmation would go to. It is our recommendation that you please check that box so that you do get a copy of your application from the platform that is accepting your application. It does two things. One, it gives you confirmation. Second, you know what you have filled out in the application. So if you need to come back to county or the grant administrators to provide any clarification, there is no second guessing. You have like a soft copy of your application in front of you. The reason the county made that not a default, that notification would be sent out, is because there's so much sensitive information that is being filled out, and maybe someone's helping you fill the application, which we've seen for a lot of micro businesses. That's why we wanted, for liability reasons, the business owner to check that box manually to opt in to receive a confirmation email with a copy of the application. Highly recommend you do that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you have that for your records, and you can reference it when the county asks you for more information or for clarification. That makes sense. Thank you. So another question regarding the 20 employee limits. What if there's 20 W-2s, but there's turnover within the year? So the total of W-2s is, say, 25, but really at one time you didn't have more than 20 in the year.
I haven't been asked that question before, so I'm actually thinking about it. That's a really, really good question.
They're all great questions.
So yeah. I will confirm this with county, and Kara, we can provide the IRA with the response that county has so that you can communicate that directly to this group as clarification. I would assume that they're looking for year-end numbers, like how many W-2s did you actually provide at the end of 2019. So there are two questions about the permanent full-time W-2 employees. Question number, I believe it's 19, 20, 21. It's one of those in the application. It says you have to disclose how many permanent full-time employees you had in 2019, and then how many permanent full-time W-2 employees did you have in your payroll in 2021. So last year and 2019. I'm assuming that they're asking end of year numbers. That is, when your year ended and you had to file you had to provide employees with W-2s, how many W-2s did you print as a business? So I see your point about the seasonality and the fluctuation of employees during the year, but I am not 100% sure. So we will get back to you on that. We will confirm with county what their compliance requirement is for that.
Great, yeah, a lot of good questions here. And again, you can always call the county when you're filling out your application, and you'll get this entire presentation afterwards with information for those specific questions like that. Next question we have is, do you convert part-time employees into full-time employees, or simply just enter the FTEs and ignore the part-time employees?
This is for full-time employees. So this question very clearly asks that who works a minimum of 40 hours a week, which is the requirement for an employee to be considered an FTE at your business for the entirety of the year that you are providing a W-2 form for. So again, the question asks primarily about full-time employees. So again, I think this is a question, the FTE part-time, because it's so specific to the restaurant industry, that I would love for the county's compliance team to provide additional clarification on what their requirement is internally.
Great, thank you so much. We don't have any more questions in the chat. I just want to turn it back to you really quick. Lodika, if you have any final advice, any hurdles that you've encountered, and other questions that we might not have covered so far.
No, I think from a grant reviewer perspective, when the administrators look at these applications, we love it if you have an exception, that you actually take the time to explain that exception to the reviewer, because rather than, kind of put it in a to be followed up later bucket, the reviewer is able to look at the exception that you've provided and immediately ask for clarification if they need clarification from county on anything that is very specific to your application. So please take the time to explain that, whether it's change of business ownership, whether you were, and this is a question that hasn't been asked, but it's important. You could have been outside of Cook County previously, but you're currently in Cook County. Is your business eligible? And yes, it is. Please make sure you explain it though, because when your business address is being asked for, it asks for your current business address and current zip code, and in the attestation you sign that your business is currently open and operational in Cook County. Please submit your 3 mandatory documents. The hurdle is really low. It's 3 documents. All businesses should have it. And then just take care when you're filling out your responses to some of the questions that either determine eligibility or determine priority, because they do get checked, and some of these are automated checks, right? There's no manual check happening for zip codes and stuff like that. So that happens when you submit the application. It gets bucketed into Cook County versus non-Cook County. So highly recommend that now that you're aware of what the eligibility and priority categories are for this grant application, just take that extra 5 minutes to make sure that you're answering those questions correctly and accurately. And we will confirm on our end, the really great questions that came up on part-time and full-time employees and W-2s. So we will check with county at our next meeting with them, and we will provide clarity to the Illinois Restaurant Fund Association, and they can communicate that response to you. So that's it. Thank you everyone so much for your time and attention. This was a lot of information.
Thank you so much, Lodika. This was great. We will send out all this information after the fact, and also provide you with all the links to call Cook County directly, to call us, to call WBDC directly, to get clarification on any other specific questions you may have. We really appreciate your time, Lodika, and everyone for joining. We highly recommend people apply for this by the 31st, and you'll get a confirmation email sent. If you check that box at the end, there's just 3 documents, and we really are here to provide a resource in general with Cook County, WBDC, here at the Illinois Restaurant Association. We have a lot of resources on our website and in our newsletter. So please be sure to sign up for those as well. And you'll get all this information shortly. And thank you everyone so much for your time, and have a great day.